Hi everyone, I'm Leo Daly, and this is a recording of a Kronos Works 2012 theater session that I delivered called The Cloud, Why So Serious? And as you can see, I'm a very serious guy. Here's our agenda, and we have 3 quiz questions, so pay attention. It used to be a simpler world when clouds were just about the weather. But now, the cloud is everywhere. It's affecting our lives and lives in the hereafter. I have a blog, and this is my chance to plug it, workingsmartercafe.kronos.com. In orange, you'll see my Twitter feed. And the reason I show this, other than the shameless plug, is to show that I've used many, many cloud metaphors. This one, Wizard of Oz, I've always wanted to use this, but I've never had a chance. I never really knew how to use it until now. So these young boys back in 1965, they did a record. This is what they look like today. Charlie, Keith, Ronnie, although he didn't play on that original record. And the last guy in the snappy blue suit, that's Mick. What's he pointing at? As an attendee of the London School of Economics, he was probably pointing at a way to make money. The Stones made a lot of money off that record, first on vinyl, then on 8-track, then on cassette, and finally on CD. In computer software, we had the same sort of journey with the 8-inch floppy disk, 5 1/4, 3 1/2, and finally distribution on CDs and DVDs. But Mick's still pointing. What's he getting at? Oh, another way to make money. Once music that got digitized, it got moved on to the cloud, where you can access and store music from Apple, Amazon, Google, and many others. But this isn't really a big business, right? Let's do a little history of the cloud. I used CompuServe. That was the first network software I ever used. It was a little later than 1983, but you can see the progression in some of the companies that have come up and leveraged the internet or the cloud, including present day when in 2012, my mother joined Facebook, which really got me second-guessing the whole cloud thing. This is not nothing. It is actually a beautiful blue cloudless sky. But this is before this happened. Well, actually, this didn't happen, but this did. This is ARPANET, which was a government-funded program, and it was the birth of the Internet, including UCLA, UC Santa Barbara, Stanford, and the University of Utah. The first command was intended to be the word login, but the system crashed after LO, so they got off to a bit of a rocky start with the whole cloud thing. It was these guys, in a room that looked just like that, the fathers of the cloud. And the guy that invented this, it's a fake computer, of course. It's an evil computer, but this guy had a pretty good imagination, and he had some predictions. By 1977, the Internet had grown much bigger. ARPANET was growing. We had a little bit of a cloud with some companies in it, including IBM, who did time sharing of their mainframe computer time back in the early 70s. Our first question, who is this? It's Mosaic. And Mosaic was the creator of the first web browser. So moving from this little wispy cloud into a much bigger cloud and many more companies that started to jump on the internet bandwagon, including a company you might not think of, but ADP, in the same HR and payroll space as Kronos. They've been doing cloud computing for quite some time. You might ask, is there noise in the cloud? The answer is yes. Anyone old enough to remember using the old modems will remember that happy sound. But what this chart shows is the progression and the growth of internet bandwidth that has allowed us to get to the point where we enjoy many of the applications via the cloud that we do today. And while this is not a pipe, this is a huge series of pipes. This is just one piece of Google data center. The cloud became gigantic. It became intergalactic with Google at the center. And that's basically the end. No, it's not really the end. It's the beginning. with new companies coming in, taking advantage of the bandwidth and the processing power and virtualization that has given us what we have as cloud or software as a service applications today with companies like Ultimate and SuccessFactors and Taleo and Workday and Salesforce. And some of the older traditional companies like Oracle and SAP buying some of these cloud companies because of the tremendous interest in the part of customers and tremendous growth. Gartner's got some predictions, and this is a pretty big one. Gartner says cloud is part of what they call their nexus of forces. And Kronos is active in all of them. We've got our big data or information covered with workforce analytics. We're very active in social, and we're starting to build social capabilities into our products. In the area of mobile, we just announced our workforce tablet at our Kronos Work show. And of course, today, we're making fun of the cloud. So there we are, Kronos in the cloud. It's been in all the papers. I don't know if you've seen. If you go to our website, this is what you see first, Kronos in the cloud. It's becoming very, very popular. So our second question, when did Kronos first host Workforce Central in the cloud? Was it when we started the company in 1977? Was it when Workforce Central became a product in 1996? Was it in 2006 or 2011? It was 2006. So yes, Kronos has been hosting Workforce Central in the cloud for 6 years. Since then, we've had a great growth trajectory, and hopefully by the end of 2013, which will be in September for our fiscal year, we hope to have nearly 800 Workforce Central customers leveraging the cloud. This is the boss. This is Aaron. And Aaron says, enough people don't know about Kronos in the cloud. I said, Aaron, we did this, though, and we did this, and we send customers lots of this. Well, no, not that, this. Great information we send them via email. He said, no, I still talk to many, many customers that don't know we have Workforce Central in the cloud. So we asked our customers, and sure enough, we found that as compared to our traditional services, the awareness is only about half of cloud hosting and cloud services. So it turns out the big guy was right. This is our headquarters. I have a nice office up on the 3rd floor, and that just coincidentally happens to be the same place that Aaron has his office, but this next segment has nothing to do with Aaron, I assure you. That's a true story. It is traumatizing and unforgettable. But I thought, we're in the cloud. It's very important to the big guy. We've got our big show coming up. The guy with the budget is just going to be throwing money at me. So I'm thinking, I want one of these. But I had to talk to the guy with the budget. That's Charles. I said, hey, Charles, I'm thinking if you can put together this beautiful expo floor, our customers are going to have a great experience. I want one of these. Charles said, you want one of these? I said, yeah, Charles, what do you think? He says, well, let's go out and talk about it. So he took me to Old Vegas a couple nights before Kronos Work started. And while I can't reveal all the details of what went on, what I can tell you is the next morning I woke up here at Very Cheap Balloons with Charles. And Charles said, I've got a good deal for you. It's something within budget. It's a balloon. It's going to be filled with hydrogen. I said, well, wait a minute. I went to college, took chemistry, hydrogen. I'm thinking, even though I want one of these, I don't want one of these. So instead of getting one of those, I got one of those, which was a very nice, big Kronos in the Cloud booth at Kronos Works. Thanks, Charles. At this point, those of you who haven't clicked off might be thinking, why should I care? I've got my system in my data center. I've got somebody looking after it. What's the problem? Well, you might remember this great movie, and you might remember this guy, Dennis Nedry. He was the one IT guy for the whole park, and he had a dark side. He was stressed out, complaining about having to debug millions of lines of code. He was having financial troubles. He didn't bid enough for the contract. He had to hire subcontractors. So he tried to cut a deal with this guy. And one night, he turned off all the security systems in the park so that he could get away and hatch his plot. That left Samuel L. Jackson and the old guy in charge, and frankly, they didn't know anything about managing the system, and that didn't work out well for anyone, especially the IT guy. So what's the lesson? We can also help smooth out those variable costs. So whether you're doing an upgrade or whether you're installing service packs or legislative updates, no matter how your service needs for maintaining your Kronos system fluctuate month to month, you'll have a nice, even, predictable payment. We get this question a lot. It's right there. It's in Chelmsford. It's in this nice room with, okay, it isn't. But this is a real cloud. It's not photoshopped. It's in a room. Some Dutch artist did this with temperature control and humidity control and a fog machine and some dramatic lighting, but it's real. You can look it up in the cloud. Our last quiz question, where is the Workforce Central Cloud? Seattle, you can see it right there. In Inflatable Stewie's head? In Waltham, Massachusetts, or Chicago, Illinois? This is a bit of a trick question, but the answer is Waltham, where our primary location is, and Chicago, where we have our disaster recovery site. This is the second question we usually get. Security. It's huge. I want to assure you, it is secure. My obsession? Well, there was this whole thing, which I'd rather not think about, but I really just don't want to be this guy. And this is why. I'd like to thank you all for coming and for experiencing my last cloud metaphor, and I hope to see you all next year at Kronos Works 2013. Thank you.